Chosen ones, stop scrolling. Yes, you. If you're watching this right now, it's not by accident, it's divine timing. Spirit has a way of putting the right message in front of the right soul at the right moment. And trust me, if this video found you, it's because you needed this reminder today. Let me ask you something. Have you ever walked into a room and felt like everyone's eyes were on you, but not in a shallow, superficial way? More like they could sense something about you they couldn't put into words? That's the power of your intelligence and your gifts. You don't even have to open your mouth before people feel the weight of your presence. Once there was a quiet kid in school, didn't talk much, sat in the back, minding their own business. Teachers underestimated them, classmates ignored them. But one day, during a group project, this kid dropped so much wisdom, so much clarity, that the entire class stopped in their tracks. The teacher, stunned, looked at the child and said, "Where have you been hiding this brilliance?" That child? That's you, chosen one. You've been underestimated, overlooked, maybe even laughed at. But deep down, you always knew something about you was different. You see the world through a higher lens. You pick up on details, energies, and truths that others miss completely. And that's why people are shook. Your very existence challenges them. Your intelligence doesn't just mean you're book smart. It means you're spiritually aligned, mentally sharp, emotionally aware, and divinely connected. That combination makes you one of a kind. As the quote goes, "The most dangerous person in the room is the one who has nothing to prove but everything to give." That's you. You're not out here trying to flex. You don't need the spotlight. And yet the spotlight naturally finds you. So in this video, we're going to break down exactly why your gifts and intelligence shock people so deeply, why they can't stop watching you, why some admire you, and yes, why others envy you. Stick with me till the very end, because the last point is going to show you how to fully embrace your uniqueness, without fear, without apology, and without shrinking yourself for anyone. Chosen ones, let's dive in. Point one, you see beyond the surface. Most people walk through life like they're skimming the surface of a calm lake, never realizing the depth beneath them. They hear words but don't listen to meaning. They see smiles but miss the tension in the jaw. They sense nothing beyond what is shown because they've been conditioned to take life at face value. But you, chosen one, you are wired differently. You don't just see, you perceive. You don't just hear, you discern. You have a heightened awareness, like a built-in spiritual radar that picks up signals others ignore. This is why you can sense shifts in energy when someone walks into the room, even if they haven't said a word. It's why you notice when someone's voice drops half a tone in a conversation, signaling discomfort or dishonesty. This isn't paranoia. It's perception at its finest. Science has actually started to back this up. Studies in psychology and neuroscience show that some individuals are highly sensitive perceivers, meaning their nervous systems process subtle cues more deeply than the average person. This includes micro-expressions, tiny, involuntary facial movements that reveal hidden emotions, and fluctuations in tone or body language that betray a person's true feelings. The average person might take 7 to 10 seconds to register discomfort or deception. Someone like you can pick it up almost instantly. This makes you a living lie detector without even trying. People feel it too. They may not be able to explain why, but they know you see through them, not just at them. That's why their palms sweat when they try to deceive you, why they avert their eyes or fidget with their hands. You're reading them on levels they didn't even know existed. And there's a spiritual dimension to this as well. In almost every ancient tradition, from Christian mysticism to Eastern philosophies, there are teachings about discernment of spirits, the ability to sense truth, hidden motives, or even danger before it happens. This isn't just a metaphor. It's a real skill sharpened by intuition, observation, and spiritual alignment. You are like an old soul walking through a world of masks, instantly recognizing what's authentic and what's not. This isn't always comfortable. In fact, it can feel like carrying a double-edged sword. On one side, your gift protects you from manipulation and falsehood. On the other, it isolates you because few people are used to being seen so clearly. This is why people react to you with both awe and unease. Some are drawn to your insight because you make them feel understood at a level they've never experienced. Others, especially those with hidden agendas, feel threatened by it. They'll try to downplay your instincts, call you too sensitive or overthinking, when in reality you're just tuned into a frequency they haven't reached yet. This is not arrogance. This is awareness. And in a world where deception is often celebrated as strategy, authentic perception becomes a form of rebellion. But here's the captivating part. Your depth of perception doesn't just expose others. It also empowers you. By seeing the hidden layers of life, you navigate relationships, opportunities, and challenges with an almost uncanny precision. Where others stumble into traps of manipulation or false appearances, you step lightly, already aware of the pitfalls ahead. You're not just surviving life's games, you're outplaying them without even trying. That's what leaves people speechless. They sense you're operating on a higher wavelength, but they can't quite figure out how. So, chosen one, never doubt this gift. It may set you apart, but it's also what sets you free. In a society obsessed with appearances, you are one of the few who truly sees. You're not just living life, you're decoding it. And that depth, your ability to pierce the veil, will always leave an impression, whether people admit it or not. Point 2, your silence speaks volumes. Ever notice how you don't even need to say much for people to feel your energy? That quiet confidence makes people wonder, what do they know that we don't? And the truth is, you do know. Silence has always been your superpower. For the chosen ones, words are rarely wasted because you understand that real strength doesn't need to scream. In a society where everyone is rushing to be heard, flooding the world with noise, your silence cuts deeper than any lecture ever could. People feel unsettled by it because silence makes space for truth to echo. And when you carry that truth inside of you, even without speaking, others sense it. Think about it. Science itself supports the power of silence. Research shows that silence can actually regenerate brain cells in the hippocampus, the area of the brain linked to learning, memory, and emotions. Just 2 hours of silence a day has been linked to brain growth. That means while others are exhausting themselves, talking, gossiping, or trying to outshout the world, you are literally becoming sharper, wiser, and more intuitive by embracing stillness. It's no wonder people look at you differently. They can feel that your energy isn't scattered. It's concentrated, powerful, and grounded in something bigger than yourself. History proves this as well. Great leaders and spiritual figures were never the loudest ones in the room. Think of Jesus, who often withdrew to pray in silence before performing miracles or teaching crowds, or Buddha, who found enlightenment not through debate, but through meditation and stillness. Even in more modern times, leaders like Nelson Mandela carried a quiet authority that made people lean in, not because he was shouting, but because his presence alone carried weight. Chosen ones inherit this same spirit. Your silence is not emptiness. It's a container filled with wisdom, patience, and divine timing. And let's be real, silence intimidates people because it leaves them with themselves. Most people can't stand their own thoughts. They need constant noise, constant validation, constant distraction. But you can sit in your silence, comfortable with your own soul. That unnerves people. It makes them question what you've seen, what you've been through, and what you know that they don't. And the truth is, you have walked through valleys that taught you lessons others haven't learned yet. Your silence is the result of surviving storms, of realizing that not every battle is worth your voice, and that sometimes the greatest clapback is peace. But don't mistake your silence for passivity. It's strategy. Chosen ones use silence the way a warrior uses a shield. When gossip comes, you let it bounce off. When envy stirs, you don't fuel it with reaction. When chaos rises, you stay still, letting others expose themselves with their noise. This is why people often reveal their true character around you without you having to say a word. Your silence creates a mirror, and in that reflection, people see their own insecurities. On a spiritual level, silence is how you connect deeper with God, the universe, or divine truth, whatever name you call it. In silence, you receive downloads of wisdom, clarity, and foresight. The world teaches that power is about how loud you can be, but the chosen ones know that power is about how deeply you can listen. You're not racing to prove yourself. You already know who you are. That's why your silence speaks louder than their shouting ever could. So, chosen one, never underestimate this gift. Your quiet confidence will always disturb those who rely on noise to feel significant. They will wonder, they will gossip, they will speculate, but deep down, they already know the answer. You walk with a knowledge and presence that cannot be explained, only felt, and that more than anything you could ever say is why your silence is your greatest power. Point 3, you're spiritually intelligent. Chosen ones, your intelligence goes far beyond numbers on a test or the traditional idea of IQ. It is a divine intelligence, one that carries the weight of both heaven and earth. While the world measures intelligence through logic, memory, or problem solving, you embody something deeper, spiritual discernment. This is the rare ability to see beneath the surface of things, to notice the invisible threads of God's hand weaving through what looks to others like random chaos. Where someone else sees only a setback, you recognize a setup. Where others panic in the unknown, you sense divine order, a timing that cannot be rushed or delayed. This isn't just being smart. This is walking with an awareness that the unseen realm is more powerful than the seen. Science itself even affirms this idea. Researchers talk about emotional intelligence and intuitive intelligence, the ability to sense and interpret situations beyond logic. Yet, what they define in psychological terms, you live in spiritual terms. You know when someone's words don't match their spirit. You can feel when an opportunity is divinely appointed versus when it's a distraction dressed as a blessing. That discernment is why you often stand out in the crowd. It almost looks like you're tapped into another frequency, a higher channel that others can't quite tune into, and in truth you are. This wisdom shows up most in your calmness. Picture the world when chaos breaks out. People scramble. Fear spreads like wildfire. and emotions drive reckless decisions, yet you, chosen one, remain centered. It isn't because you're emotionless. It's because you know that nothing can move without God's permission. You trust divine timing so deeply that you don't waste energy on panic. And that calm is not only noticed, it unsettles people. It makes them wonder, what do you know that I don't? How can you be so unshaken when everything looks uncertain? That's when envy creeps in. People will secretly resent your peace because it highlights their own inner storm. History has always shown us this pattern. Think of Joseph in the Bible, betrayed, sold into slavery, falsely accused, yet never losing faith in the bigger picture. While others might have drowned in bitterness, he trusted divine timing, and eventually the very trials that were meant to destroy him positioned him for greatness. That same anointing rests on you. Even outside of Scripture, great minds like Albert Einstein spoke of a guiding intelligence behind the universe. He famously said, "Coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous." You, chosen one, are one of the few who catch those coincidences for what they truly are, divine fingerprints. But this gift isn't always easy to carry. It isolates you at times. People misinterpret your stillness as arrogance, your insight as superiority, or your quiet confidence as something mysterious they can't control. The truth is, you're not trying to outshine anyone. You're simply aligned. And alignment with God's timing creates a wisdom the world cannot manufacture. This is why some people are drawn to you, seeking your guidance like a compass, while others distance themselves, intimidated by the fact that you see more than what they want revealed. So remember, chosen one, your intelligence is not just knowledge. It is revelation. You are the person who can walk into a storm and not be shaken because you know storms don't last forever. And sometimes they're carrying the rain that's needed for your next season. You are proof that divine timing is real, that discernment is greater than panic, and that wisdom is not just in the mind, but in the spirit. The world may not always understand it, but that's what makes you stand out. You were not called to blend in. You were chosen to reveal God's hand in the ordinary, to be the calm in the chaos, and the proof that true intelligence is knowing who holds time itself. Point 4, you make people reflect on themselves. Here's where it gets uncomfortable for others, chosen one. Your very presence is like a mirror, and not everyone is ready to face their reflection. When you walk into a room carrying light, that light naturally exposes shadows. Not the kind of shadows cast on the wall, but the ones people keep hidden in their hearts. The doubts, the laziness, the bad habits, the unhealed wounds. Your discipline, your insight, your growth, these qualities stand as living proof that transformation is possible. But here's the catch. When others see you, they can no longer deny the truth about themselves. Your example reminds them of the areas in their own lives they've been neglecting. That's why some people love you, drawn to the hope and inspiration you radiate, while others resent you, because your very existence unsettles their excuses. Think about it this way. When a lamp is lit in a dark room, it doesn't choose what it reveals. It just shines. And suddenly the dust, the clutter, and the mess become visible. Some people will thank you for the light, because now they can finally clean up what they've ignored. Others will curse you, because they'd rather stay comfortable in the dark. This is the duality that comes with being chosen. Your growth triggers admiration and jealousy in equal measure. And it has nothing to do with arrogance on your part. It has everything to do with the fact that light and shadow cannot coexist without tension. Even science affirms this in a fascinating way. Psychologists call it social comparison theory. The idea that people measure themselves by those around them. When someone encounters a person more disciplined, more focused, or more spiritually grounded, they're faced with two options: rise to the challenge or sink into resentment. Most people admire greatness from a distance, but up close it makes them uneasy. Why? Because proximity removes denial. They can't lie to themselves anymore. Your peace reminds them of their chaos. Your resilience reminds them of their fragility. Your purpose reminds them of their drifting. History is full of examples of this. Great leaders, thinkers, and spiritual guides were often polarizing figures. Take Socrates, who challenged people to question themselves. Some adored him, while others hated him enough to condemn him to death. Or Jesus, whose love and miracles inspired devotion in many, yet stirred such resentment in others that they sought to silence him. The pattern repeats throughout time. The more a chosen soul embodies truth, the more uncomfortable the world becomes. Your presence is proof that higher living is possible, and for some, that truth feels like judgment. But here's what you must remember: their reaction says more about them than it does about you. The love you receive is genuine appreciation from those ready to grow. The resentment you encounter is simply projection from those unwilling to confront themselves. Both responses prove that your light is working. Both prove that you're carrying something rare. You were not chosen to blend in. You were chosen to stir spirits, awaken sleeping souls, and remind people of who they could be if only they were brave enough to face themselves. So, chosen one, don't dim your light to make others comfortable. Don't hide your discipline, your insight, or your growth just to avoid resentment. Let your light shine freely, because those who are meant to rise will rise because of it. And those who resist, they're not your burden to carry. Your responsibility is simply to keep walking in your truth, knowing that love and resentment are just two sides of the same coin, a coin that proves you are different, set apart, and living in a way that most only dream about. That is the mark of the chosen. Point 5, your humor and wit disarm people. Yes, chosen ones, you're deep, but let's not forget you're also funny. And not funny in the cheap, try too hard, laugh track kind of way, but funny in a way that makes people pause and wonder, wait, did they just roast me and teach me a life lesson at the same time? That's the gift you carry, a wit so sharp it cuts through tension like a blade, but so smooth it leaves people laughing before they realize you've just dropped a nugget of truth on their soul. Humor has always been one of the highest forms of intelligence. It takes quick thinking, emotional awareness, and timing. Science even backs this up. Studies in cognitive psychology show that humor engages multiple areas of the brain, requiring creativity, memory, and social intelligence all at once. So when people laugh at your one-liners, it's not just comedy. It's your genius at work. Chosen ones, your humor is never random. You use it like a key to unlock doors that others keep shut. Someone might come at you with negativity, gossip, or envy, and instead of arguing or defending yourself, you flip the script with a witty remark that disarms the entire situation. That's why people are often left stunned after interacting with you. They walked in ready for drama, but walked out replaying your words in their head like, hold up. Did they just call me out without actually calling me out? You've mastered the art of the truth bomb in disguise. And what makes it even more powerful is that your humor is never rooted in cruelty. It's rooted in clarity. You're not mocking people to tear them down. You're using wit as a mirror to show them what they couldn't see for themselves. Throughout history, some of the greatest minds carried this exact trait. Think of Socrates, who often used humor, irony, and playing dumb as a way to expose hidden truths in his students' reasoning. Or even Jesus, who slipped in parables and witty retorts that left his critics silenced and the crowd reflecting for days. These weren't just casual jokes. They were layered messages designed to wake people up. That's exactly what you do in everyday life. You can be sitting at work, in a family gathering, or just having coffee with a friend, and you'll drop a casual line that makes everyone laugh. Hours later, someone is at home thinking, wow, that was actually some deep wisdom disguised as a joke. This gift is why you shock people. They expect wisdom to come wrapped in a heavy, serious tone, but you carry it lightly. You show that being deep doesn't mean being dull. People don't expect intelligence and humor to coexist, but in you, they merge effortlessly. You remind the world that spiritual insight doesn't have to be delivered like a lecture. It can slip into conversation like a punchline. And here's the secret. This is why people remember you. They might forget long speeches, but they'll never forget the moment you made them laugh and think at the same time. But make no mistake, chosen one, this humor also unsettles people. Not everyone is ready for the truth hidden in your wit. Some will laugh on the outside, but feel exposed on the inside. And that's where envy can creep in. Because while most people use humor as a mask to hide their insecurities, you use it as a lantern to reveal truth. That's intimidating. It shows a level of self-awareness and intelligence that others can't fake. And when they can't match your depth or your wit, some choose to envy instead of learning. So embrace it. Your humor is not just entertainment, it's education, it's healing, it's even spiritual warfare at times, dismantling negativity without you lifting a finger in anger. When you laugh in the face of envy, when you joke your way through gossip, when you throw light-hearted truth bombs into heavy situations, you're showing the world a power few possess. The ability to turn wisdom into laughter and laughter into transformation. Chosen ones never downplay this gift. It's part of your divine arsenal. Keep shocking the world with your depth. Keep disarming it with your wit, and watch how your laughter echoes longer than their envy ever could. Point 6, you adapt and transform effortlessly. Where others get stuck, you evolve. That's the mark of a true chosen one. Life throws the same storms at everyone, betrayals, setbacks, heartbreaks, and failures. But while many allow those storms to drown them, you somehow use the very waves meant to sink you as stepping stones to rise higher. It's not luck, and it's not coincidence. It's resilience mixed with divine guidance. Most people cling to what's familiar, even if it's toxic. They stay in circles, jobs, or relationships that drain them because comfort feels safer than change. But you, chosen one, you carry within you a sacred restlessness that refuses to let you remain stagnant. Where others see endings, you see beginnings. Where others see chaos, you find an opening for transformation. That's why people often whisper, how did they do that? Because they can't comprehend how you walked out of a pit and returned with wings. Psychologically, this ability to reinvent yourself is linked to what researchers call post-traumatic growth. Studies show that while trauma can break some, others emerge stronger, wiser, and more spiritually awakened. And you, chosen one, embody that. You don't just recover, you regenerate. You let go of what no longer serves you, and instead of being buried by your past, You turn it into fertile soil for your future. This is what makes you unstoppable. While many get stuck replaying their wounds like a broken record, you learn the lesson, press pause on the drama, and create a whole new soundtrack for your life. But here's the part that really shakes people. You don't just survive, you thrive. You come back from situations that would have destroyed others, not only standing, but shining. It confuses people who secretly rooted for your downfall. They saw you walk through fire, but they didn't expect you to emerge glowing. They thought betrayal would leave you bitter, but instead, it left you wiser. They thought loss would make you desperate, but it made you disciplined. This is why your evolution bothers people. It highlights their own resistance to growth. Think about nature itself. A snake sheds its skin when it outgrows it. A butterfly emerges from the cocoon by dissolving its old self entirely. And yet humans are often the only beings that fear shedding the old to embrace the new. But you, chosen one, carry that natural law within you. You shed identities, habits, and environments like old skin. Without apology, people call it cold or detached. But really, it's survival with wisdom. You understand that holding on to dead things poisons the living spirit. So, you release, you move, you evolve. And that is why you stand out. Your life itself becomes a living testimony that endings are not final. They're transitions. People stare, whisper, and sometimes envy because you embody what they secretly crave. The courage to walk away, the strength to start again, and the audacity to thrive in places they thought no one could. You, chosen one, are not just surviving the game of life. You are rewriting the rules. Point 7. You're one of a kind and you don't hide it. Here's the truth. You were never meant to blend in, chosen one. You were never designed to be another quiet face, lost in the crowd, moving with the flow of the world's expectations. Your intelligence, your spiritual gifts, your sharp intuition, and even the quirks that people once mocked. These were never accidents. They are your divine fingerprints, evidence that you carry something set apart. From the very beginning, God wove uniqueness into your DNA, not so you could hide it, but so you could let it shine as a light in places where conformity tries to dim every flame. And yes, society has tried to convince you otherwise. The world often labels difference as too much, or frames individuality as a flaw. But what they call too much is often the exact measure of strength required to fulfill your assignment. Think about it. History never remembered the ones who blended perfectly into the background. It remembered those who stood out, the innovators, the truth-tellers, the spiritual warriors who walked paths no one else dared to travel. Albert Einstein, who was once dismissed as slow in school, later reshaped science. Joan of Arc, just a teenage girl, led armies with a fire that came from her conviction. And in Scripture, David was never the tallest or most qualified. Yet he carried the courage to face Goliath when seasoned warriors trembled. The world resists what it doesn't understand, which is why people may question, criticize, or even envy you. But their resistance is actually confirmation that you're carrying something rare. The sooner you embrace this truth, that your difference is your destiny, the sooner you will unlock the full power placed inside you. When you stop apologizing for being set apart and start leaning into it, you move into alignment with your calling. And alignment is everything. It attracts the right opportunities, reveals the right people, and sharpens the clarity of your purpose. You are not here to simply exist. You are here to awaken, to teach, to build, and to inspire. Chosen one, your uniqueness is not a burden. It's your crown. And the moment you wear it without hesitation, the world will have no choice but to recognize the light you've been carrying all along. Chosen ones, when your presence unsettles people, it isn't always because you've done something wrong. It's often because your brilliance can't be ignored. Intelligence, creativity, spiritual depth, or unique gifts naturally stand out in a world that prizes sameness. Throughout history, innovators and leaders, whether inventors like Nikola Tesla, visionaries like Harriet Tubman, or artists like Leonardo da Vinci, were misunderstood before they were celebrated. Their originality challenged the comfort zones of those around them. In psychology, this reaction is partly explained by the threat to self-concept effect, where people feel uneasy or even envious when someone's excellence highlights their own insecurities. That's why your light can make others whisper or stare. But God didn't create you to blend in. Scripture repeatedly shows that he calls people apart, Moses, Esther, David, to chart new paths, not follow old ones. Your uniqueness isn't arrogance, it's assignment. A diamond never asks permission to sparkle because its value doesn't depend on approval. In the same way, your gifts don't need validation to be real. Instead of watering yourself down to make others comfortable, step fully into your purpose. You are not a copy, you're the blueprint. And blueprints are meant to build futures, not fade into the background.